think before Game 6, you said you wanted, no matter the result, you wanted your team to have an effort that you could go out with pride with.
Yeah.
Did you feel you got that tonight, and just kind of how do you categorize this season as a whole?
Yeah, no question we got it. I thought we played a great game tonight. Just didn't score on some of our chances. They got a lucky bounce on one. We made a mistake on another one. It's a fine line. But no question, I mean, when I think about this team, I'm really proud of this team. Just the way they played, how hard they played all year long, it was pretty impressive, what they've overcome. And, some years it's a little tougher than others, and this was a tough one. I've been in the game, at the pro level for quite some time, and there's a lot of stuff that happened this year that you just can't plan for, and you're missing key guys throughout the course of the season, and other guys were stepping up and getting the job done, and it's that's why it's so disappointing for me. It's not frustrating at all. I went through that months ago. Disappointing because I wanted our guys, like this group in the locker room, to be able to advance, and just keep fighting, keep giving it their all. That's what they did all year long. So I don't have a bad word to say about those guys in there. They were great all year.
How much does that feeling of disappointment stem from Eric Johnson, Jack Johnson, Darren Helm, Cogliano, a lot of these guys that are going to their final year, getting older, and it's unclear if they'll be back at this point?
Yeah, so I haven't even thought that far, but when you get older guys that, play their butts off for you, old, young, doesn't matter, but even more for the older guys, because that you don't know how many opportunities you're still going to get, and if they're going to be with us or not. All the guys on expiring contracts, but you get to know these guys and see how much they put into the game, into the team on a daily basis, and you want to see them get rewarded for it. Doesn't always happen. Obviously, it's very tough to win, but that was the most rewarding thing for us last year, seeing some of those guys get rewarded. And this year, obviously, it's not the case, so there's some heartbreak again.
Kyle and Jessica.
Jared, obviously difficult now, but thinking about the way this team is built and with your young core being signed to long-term contracts, does that make you feel good knowing, hey, we're in position to be right back here next year?
Yeah, you look at the guys that we have that are under, long-term deals, and then you sort of watch them perform, probably even more so this year than, obviously last year what they did, and then you see how they come back this year. And it'd been easy for, some of those core guys to get frustrated a little bit this year, and they're like me, they get the taste of winning, and you just want it every year. But with winning, there's a lot of things that happen. We have to say goodbye to a bunch of, great players that helped us win. They get rewarded by big contracts in other places, and you can't keep them all. So you get a little bit of a retool, and then you lose, for us in the playoffs, you lose 2 first or second line wingers, and, and the whole line disappears again, So it's that part, the way they handled it and the way they played and how hard they played and how productive they were through the course of the season and through the playoffs, it's pretty impressive. So you feel good about moving forward just because you have those guys right away and the leaders that they are, and you know what they're going to give you, the effort and, leadership and determination that they play with, and then that you add that to their skill level and their ability, and it's like you got to give yourself a chance. Now we'll have to go and evaluate and have a big off season, and hopefully we can surround those guys with the right mix of players, and health is always a part of it too.
Coach, I know the season just ended 10 minutes ago, so this is maybe a hard question to answer, but is this, with everything that happened and everything you guys accomplished, maybe a situation where 2 weeks from now, when you're a little bit removed, that you'll be able to look at this season and really take pride in a lot of the things that you guys did check off?
Yeah, no question. I'm already there. It's losing this round. The disappointing part of it was we just didn't play well enough in a handful of games. So they won this round, and give them credit. This is a really good hockey team. But one thing they were that we weren't in the series was consistent. We played a great, game 2, we won. Played a great game 3, we won. Game 6 and game 7. But it's a 7-game series. I'd like to walk away from it knowing that we played great in all 7, and if they beat us, they beat us. That's what you have to expect this time of year. So that's the one takeaway from the series. But it doesn't change the way I feel about the team and how proud I am of what they accomplished this year, because it was a difficult season.
I know you weren't surprised by the Kraken, but some others might be. What do you think they showed or proved in this series?
I think they're highly competitive as any team we played. Everyone's talked about their depth all year, but I agree with it. It's a deep team. They play, every line plays the same, very structured. Dave's got them playing the way they have to play to have success. And, now, I thought Grubauer was outstanding in the series, and they've got good goaltending, strong physical D. They make it hard on you to create chances. So it certainly did not surprise me at all. I think I talked about it before the series. It's a 100-point team. It's a good team. And if you look around the parity in the league, right, Boston's out to Florida. Florida's a really good team. They had to scratch and claw to get into the playoffs, and they just eliminated Boston. You got Tampa out already. Every series, it wouldn't have surprised me if you look at any of the series that either team wins. Because you have to not only put yourself in that position, but you got to play your best hockey, especially with the 16 teams that got in. You got to play your best hockey in order to win the series. And, we played hard, but we didn't play our best for 7 games.
Brandon. Jared, you've talked about how you feel like you can learn something from every playoff series every year. Nico sort of thought you guys played your best hockey in games 6 and 7, but maybe it was a little too late after the first 5. Is sort of the main thing that you can learn from this about playing from behind in both the games and the series, or is there another sort of big takeaway that you feel like you can bring into future posts?
Yeah, there'll be takeaways. I have some thoughts on it. I want to, study it and sort of absorb it all first. But yeah, I think that's a big one. I thought we got, I would like to not to have to bounce back in a series to get our game in order twice, right? I think the window has to be smaller for your bad play, the consistency of it. So, getting back in the series in period 2 of game 2 and carrying it through game 3, that was great. I felt really good about it. Game 4 and 5 will sting. But game 6 and 7, I have no complaints. So we're in a position to win a series, and we didn't do it. That's the way it goes sometimes in sports.
Brandon.
Jared, I know you kind of touched on it, but specifically to not have Gabe's leadership, what does it mean to not have your captain all year, but especially in the playoffs, and that captain?
Yeah, well, we've got great leadership, and he was around and in the room and doing his thing as much as you possibly can without playing. So that was a benefit to us, I think, at the end. Where it gets difficult is, like I said, there's a cost to winning, and you lose a bunch of guys, which was our second line last year, and then kind of lose our second line again, So, and hey, listen, that's nothing against the guys we got. I think the world of the guys that we have here that are playing, because if you look at our record through regular season, even what they did in the playoffs, we can get on them about not enough depth scoring, but those guys are playing their butts off every night and doing whatever they can to help our team succeed. But you're missing some key guys that would really help. A lot of size, strength, experience. Gabe, Val, Helm, Cogliano, that's Manson now, but it's those guys have been through a lot of tough battles, and that experience and some of that size and physicality would have helped against this team too. Especially the wingers in Landy and Val, the big guys that can play in traffic and still produce offense under difficult circumstances, which is what Seattle throws at you.
Last week, Peter, then Aaron.
I'm curious. I know sometimes at the end of the season you hear about guys who are playing through injuries in the playoffs. Were any of your players who were in the lineup still were any of them dealing with any injuries?
Yeah, I think we got a couple guys that have some things lingering. Obviously, Manson, we'll give you updates on some of those guys. We've had some guys dealing with some stuff for a while. So, yeah, we'll release it after, you know.
Just speaking of these guys that are banged up, I guess, without getting into specifics, is that Nichushkin's absence, final 5 games of the series, is that kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back for you in testing this team's depth?
It's another test for our group is what it was, you know, and we had lots of them. So it's sometimes life throws things at you, you know, and same with sport. And you got to just keep grinding and try to overcome them. It is what it is. You got to be resilient. You got to be mentally tough. I think that's one area that we talked a lot about after a couple second-round exits, like improving our mental toughness and being a team that just kept trudging forward, you know, regardless of our talent level or ability or who's in and out of the lineup. So, again, I'm proud of our guys for that. But, you know, obviously every guy that's out would have helped, you know. But they're out, and that's sometimes the way it goes. There'll be other teams moving on that think they have a chance to win, and they'll lose guys, and they might get put out. It's frustrating at times, but it's the way it goes.
Great, thanks, Jared.
Yep, thank you.